What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the MMA Fast. Today, let's get started with Charles Oliveira issues final verdict on retirement rumors ahead of UFC Rio fight against Mateusz Gamrot. Charles Oliveira recently addressed rumors of his retirement ahead of his upcoming fight against Mateusz Gamrot at UFC Rio this weekend. The Brazilian strongly dismissed the speculations and indicated that he's far from done. Oliveira is undoubtedly among the most famous names on the UFC roster and is known for having the most finishes and most submission wins in promotional history. This weekend, Oliveira will step into the octagon opposite Gamrot for his 48th outing as a professional fighter. Look, listen, the retirement talk is in your guys' heads. I've never said anything about retiring. Not a moment I've talked about retirement, but in every interview I get asked. I don't know if I'm fighting bad or if you guys want me to retire. I don't know what's happening. Every interview I give, people talk retirement. At no point have I ever thought or contemplated about that, but all the questions are the same. I'm not thinking about it. Chael Sonnen outlined solution to make Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones happen with his hot take of the day. Chael Sonnen recently shared his thoughts on a potential Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones fight and outlined one way the two men could throw down for a UFC title. Pereira is coming off an impressive first-round knockout win over Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320 last weekend. In the aftermath, the Brazilian expressed his desire to face Jones in a heavyweight super fight at the UFC White House event next year. However, many have wondered whether a Pereira-Jones fight at the White House was possible without a UFC title on the line. Let me give you the hot take of the day. If I'm in Jon Jones's shoes and I hear this and I feel this buzz, there's this huge fight and it has all of a sudden got my interest, but there's no title on the line. I can fix that real fast. I can say, I can fight you and I'll even find a world title because it's gonna be yours. I'll see you at 205 pounds. If Jon Jones does that, my partner, we're having a very different conversation. Daniel Cormier hits back at skeptics of Magomed Ankalaev's UFC 320 injury. UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier says Magomed Ankalaev was encouraged not to fight at UFC 320 after suffering a rib injury weeks before the event. Hours after UFC 320, Ankalaev's manager revealed that the now former UFC light heavyweight champion entered the rematch with a rib injury. Many fans questioned Ankalaev and his team, accusing the star of making a convenient excuse for the loss. But Daniel Cormier assures fans that Ankalaev's injury is not only legit, but severe enough that his team encouraged him to withdraw from UFC 320. Magomed did have a rib injury. This is not a lie, and this is not an excuse. I know this because prior to the fight, I saw video of him getting injections into his rib to try to help him get to the fight. He was able to hit pads and do cardio, essentially, for a month and a half before the fight. With that being said, I don't know if the result changes if he was healthy because of the way Pereira fought him. I know some people who are really close to Magomed who told him not to fight, but he wanted to fight. He wanted to beat Pereira again because he understood how important it was for him to have 2 wins over Alex and a stronger statement for why he is who he is. He wasn't 100%, but I don't know if he would have been at 120% if he'd beaten Pereira that night. Charles Oliveira explains why he wants Conor McGregor fight at the White House. The former UFC lightweight champion will be in action in front of his Brazilian fans at the weekend, but wants a big name should it come to fighting at the White House. Oliveira was speaking to the media and was asked about the dream of fighting on the White House card. The event takes place in June 2026, and the former champion was keen on the possibility. I think this will be something huge. Why not have a big fight there? So if the UFC needs me, I am ready. I don't even like to say that. Everyone knows which fight it would be. Charles Oliveira versus Conor McGregor. That would be the fight, the money fight.